Alright friends, welcome. Today we're doing proportional relationships and we're going to write equations. So today's central question is, how do we represent a proportional relationship with an equation? So that means that we're going to take the tables and the graphs that we've been working with, and we're going to learn how to write equations. So with this lesson, we'll be asked to write equations based on the proportional tables or graphs. We can only write an equation if the table/graph is proportional. And we're working with checking if graphs are proportional using the rates and getting the unit rate. Okay, so today's new word that we're going to use is going to be the constant of proportionality. That's just another name for the unit rate. So this is important. The unit rate is the same thing as the constant of proportionality. And remember, the unit rate is a ratio that compares the amount of 1. Okay, now before we get with example 1, let's go through things to remember. Biggest thing we just went over, things to remember, is that the constant of proportionality is the same thing as the unit rate. Okay, these examples are going to ask us to first find the unit rate or find the constant of proportionality and to then write the equation. Okay, remember the problem is going to tell us where to plug in the constant of proportionality. They're always going to provide us with an equation. So let's take a look at example 1. Example 1 says, this table shows a proportional relationship. It's already telling us it's proportional, so we don't have to figure it out, between the number of pounds of ham, which they name H, and the cost, which they name C. First, they want us to find the constant of proportionality, which they name K. So we gotta find K. K is the same thing as the constant of proportionality, aka the same thing as the unit rate. So remember, the way that we find our constant of proportionality, we set up our rates as y over x, and then we try to get the unit rate. Okay, so let's take a look at our table. This table is describing the cost of ham per pound and how much it costs for $1. So for example, a 2-pound ham costs $9.50. A 5-pound ham costs $23.75. We don't know what a 17 or a 23-pound turkey costs, so that's why we need to make this equation. And just like our tables when they were horizontal, the first values are always going to be x and the second values are going to be y. Okay, but the problem wants us to name it H and C. So let's pick a value. Let's say I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to choose 2 pounds and $9.50. So I know that from this we said that y is C. So this is my new y. And that we also said that x is H. So now we got to take those values. We said it was going to be $9.50 and 2, and we got to find the unit rate. So in order for us to find the unit rate, we want the denominator to be equal to 1, so we got to divide by 2. And we have to do that to both numerator and denominator. When we divide $9.50 divided by 2, we are going to get $4.75. So this is our unit rate. Okay, now we go to part B. Part B says, using the value of K, we have to enter or write an equation in the form of C is equal to KH that represents the relationship between the number of pounds, which is H, and the cost, which is C. So in here, they're giving us the equation. So we're going to write down the equation they gave us. We know that we got to use K, so we don't know what K is. But we know that C stays the same, and H stays H because it could change. So we got K. That's our new value is 475. Okay, so all we did is we took what we found in the first part of the problem, and then we plugged it in and substitute that value. So our actual new equation is C is equal to 475H. Now, we're going to write in our claim. The equation is C is equal to 475H. Okay. Now, you can pause the video so you can catch up on your notes, but I'm going to keep going and go to example 2. Okay, right here, I'm going to skip this because it's the same thing as the other one. I'm going to go straight into the example. So this example says, this graph shows the proportional relationship. Again, it's telling me that it's proportional between the numbers of pounds of bows, which is B, and the times pen, which is T. Okay, it says find the constant proportionality. We got K is equal to Y over X, which is going to be the same thing right here. The graph told us, hey, Y is going to be time, and X is going to be numbers of both. So that means that B is going to be in the place of X, and Y and T is going to be in the place of Y. So now we pick a value, and we want to pick one that's easy to see. I see this one. So it's going to be 10 and 4. So we're going to put 4 over 10. Okay, and again, we want the unit rate to be 1, so we got to divide by 10. We got to divide by 10, and 4 divided by 10 is going to give us, when you use your calculator, 0.4. So this is our K, or unit rate. Okay, same thing as the previous one. For B, we want to find the equation, and they give it to us. It's T is equal to KB. Same thing, we're going to leave T alone, we're going to leave B alone, and the value that we found is going to be 0.4. So this is going to be our new equation. Now, the claim is going to be, the equation is T is equal to 0.4B, and we're done. Go ahead and finish the class kicks, and have a good day. Bye-bye.